Hello, my name is Justin Aldred, and today I'm going to be telling you about the hometown I grew up in called Orono. Now yes, it is true, Orono has no bars, but we make up for it by having a bank and a crap ton of antique stores. Because what small town doesn't have that? And if that isn't enough for you, come see our crooked water tower. Because the old folks for some reason call it a landmark and don't want to take it down. What is safety? So if all that interests you, please come visit me in my unsafe small town. I'm Justin Aldred, and I approve this message. Kind of.
After high demand,
Listening to you and Justin, that's a professional podcast right there.
the man with a voice.
He's got a wicked voice on it too. He does. He's got oh my goodness. I listen to his voice. I'm like, dude, you could go places with that voice. You are freaking phenomenal.
Has his own podcast. And what does he think?
Oh,
BoyStick presents the Honestly Lazy Podcast.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Honestly Lazy Podcast with your boy Stick. But since that opening video, you now know my real name, which is Justin, which isn't that big of a deal. I feel like if you just did a little bit of research, you would know my name anyways. If you thought it was Stick, then you're a dumbass. But you wouldn't be the only one who thought my name was Stick when you first met me, because I usually introduce myself as Stick. And today on the podcast, I do have another cue card. I feel like every episode's going to have a cue card because it's the only way for me to make points or remember points. It's really hard to do a podcast without a cue card. Believe it or not. I thought I could do it without a cue card, but unfortunately I can't. And today I've decided to talk about my small town that I grew up in. I love it to death, and I love everybody in it, but it's had a pretty rough go, and I will get right into that. But first, like I said, welcome to the podcast with your host, me, BoyStick. I'd like to give a shout out to everyone who's been listening so far. Actually, a lot of people from my work have been listening to the podcast. I've been getting a lot of reviews about the podcast from everyone at my work. They say I have a good voice. I don't believe them. I never do. I probably never will. I honestly hate my voice. I probably always will hate my voice, but people have been listening to it and people have been giving me reviews on it. Shout out to obviously Paul Williams from the Warm Beer podcast. He's been giving me hella support and pretty much an honest opinion on everything I do. Also shout out to this girl, know who she is, the lazy bitch. I told her I'd call her that. You know who you are. You said give me a shout out, so there you are. Shout out to the lazy bitch, even though she probably hasn't listened to an episode yet. Also give a shout out to my cousin Alan Van Goor, who was on a live stream podcast with his buddy Ross. He sent me the link. I gave him some pointers on it, and he sent them straight to the guy, and then he listened to mine and said he liked my podcast, which pretty sweet. I like hearing stuff like that. Shout out to my mom, who's actually been listening to the podcast and finally saying, you're not swearing as much, which to me is a hella good thing. Thank you very much, Mom. Love you to death. And I really hope I can get through this podcast without my camera dying, because as you may know, this is on Spotify and YouTube. I prefer the YouTube part of it just because I like doing video more. But this is also available on Spotify at the Honestly Lazy Podcast. And if you are watching this on video, I groomed the beard. And if you watched that intro video of me talking about Orono, you may notice that's when I first started trying to grow this fucking beard. Was 3 years ago. I decided to grow this out. And I've never looked back and regretted having a beard. But with all that being said, I like to talk about my hometown. Let's get into this podcast. Now, from that video, from 3 years ago, you may think that my town hasn't changed at all. It's only been 3 years, and it's a small town. Obviously, in small towns, everything stays the same, but for my small town, you cannot be 100% wrong. In that video, I like to say that we have a bank, and that was true, but the bank has since then has disappeared, which was a big hit for the town. It was kind of a big hit for me when the bank went, because for me especially, I like to go in for my walks up to the bank, checking my bank statement, just seeing how much more money I have after I get paid for my job. And then I go for a walk around the small town. So when the bank disappeared, my first stop for my walks around town kind of like went to shit. That was pretty upsetting to hear about. But it was kind of upsetting, especially because it's in a small town. There's a lot of older folks that live in the small town, but and some of them can't drive. So to me, it was a frustrating thing to realize that now the old folks who probably don't drive and shit now somehow have to get to the town over, which involves driving on a highway or a long detour through back roads just to check their bank statement or to pull out money. That was the first dent, right? That was the first thing to go, and we kind of knew that was happening for a while. We had petitions saying save the bank, and that was about it. We had a petition, people signed it, and the bank was still like, our lease is up, we're gonna go. And then the next thing that went, which was a few months after, which to me is a lot funnier, I guess, is the LCBO. And the only reason why I'm saying the LCBO was funnier to watch go is because when the bank went, we signed a petition and it still went. But when the LCBO announced that it was closing, they had like a protest outside of the LCBO. People came out and they were like buying booze on like the last day that it was supposed to be open, and they literally were like wearing, like, had signs saying save the LCBO. It was like, where was this attitude when the bank was closing down? I guess people really like their booze more than they like having easy access to the shit. I just hit my mic cord. Having easy access to their money. Sorry about that. I'm trying to deal with my cable. I might have to go out and buy another one. That's annoying with this cable. I used to be able to hit it all the time, and now it's just doing that. Like, what the actual fuck? But yeah. But yeah, when the LCBO was going out of town, people like fucking protested it, and it was pretty funny to watch. Just because it was like, you think they do it for something else more important, but it was literally the LCBO. Like, we need our booze. But the same old folks that need to go to the bank probably are the same old folks that like to have a drink every night or throughout the day. Maybe they're full-blown alcoholics. I'm sure there's some young kids in Orono that are full-blown alcoholics. I don't know. My generation just is all about booze, weed, and partying. So for all you know, all the young folks are just were very upset that they had to get to the town over to grab their booze, which means like they'd have to drive. I don't know. This is really annoying because the audio, I had this episode and I really liked how the flow went, and I have to do a second take now because the audio went to shit, and I feel like I'm rushing this a bit more. My boy Suited Bird said that I needed to make the episodes longer, and I had a 30-minute episode, and I thought, hell yeah, Bird would be proud of me. I don't know if I could do it again, Bird. The audio screwed up on me, buddy. I'm just totally getting off topic, but it's a podcast. I like that about podcasts, is that they're uncut raw, and you can go off topic, just as long as you get back to the topic. That's why I got the cue card here. That's why you got the cue card, to make sure that you get back on topic. But I'm sorry, I got off topic. I'm going to bring it back now. The next thing that left, and this one was the big one. This is the one that was like what Orono was known for, and this was a big shock to everybody when they heard that this was closing, and that is our Orono Bakery. The Orono Bakery was hands down one of the most well-known places around here. Everyone came from far and wide to get bakery food from the Orono Bakery, which made sense. Like, the food there was amazing. The place didn't completely close down. They just moved locations. They're now all the way out in Whitby, which it makes sense in a business side, more traffic, probably more money. But like the bakery in Orono just had that small town, just nice and relaxing like style to it. Like the bakery just had that nice, relaxing style to it, and it had some of the greatest sandwiches, pretty good coffee, and everything else. Now, like in that BoyStick video, I did say there was a crap ton of antique stores. And there is. I'm not going to disagree on that. There's still a lot of antique stores for everybody to go see, even though once you see it once, that's what it's like every single time. Maybe they'll bring in one new thing. I don't see a lot of stuff moving out of there pretty quick, but they still have a lot of antique stores. But there is still a few restaurants. A lot of things have come and gone from Orono, believe it or not. Like, especially because when I was a kid, like, the bank, the LCBO, and the bakery were the things that, from when I was a little kid till now, have always been in Orono. Like, I thought they would never leave. I mean, a bank and an LC, you feel like you really should have that in every small town. But I guess, like, the bank and the LC proved that we don't need to be in Orono, I guess. I don't know. But a lot of things came in and out of my town. When I was a kid, there used to be a gas station right downtown. And that was a gas station even my parents, like my dad grew up in the same small town as me. And that's what he like saw growing up his whole life was the gas station. And that closed down when I was actually a pretty young kid. I remember there's this one shop. And this shop has like a new owner every year. I don't know what it is. I feel like this place is jinxed because I've seen in this one specific shop right next to the town hall. When you go into Orono, there's the town hall and then there's a shop. And I've seen so much shit try to come in here and it never stays. There was a barber shop. There was, I remember when I was a kid, a music store in there. There was a bake shop, like a rival, I cannot say that word. It was like a rival bake shop to the Orono bakery. That didn't last too long. What else was there? A media company, but I'm pretty sure she's still doing really good. I'm not 100% on it, but I'm pretty sure there was a media company in there. And if I'm screwing this all up and the Orono people are watching, please don't be mad at me. I don't pay attention too often. I notice a lot more antique stores come in and out. I don't really notice new things because usually the new things don't last too long. Another funny thing that Orono is actually pretty well known for, and I'm sorry for that pop. I just hit my fucking cord again. Another little thing that I noticed about Orono, but well, not that I noticed. The one thing that kind of happened was everything was leaving, but something like came in while everything was leaving, and that was a lot of filming. A lot of series, movies, and stuff have actually been shot in Orono. James Franco actually came to town to do that mini series about he goes back in time and assassination or tries to stop the assassination of JFK. A lot of that was actually shot in Orono, which was kind of cool to see. I got to meet James Franco. Kind of. I saw him from a distance. I didn't really care to go take a picture with him because, like, when they would stop shooting, they would just swarm him until I guess his car would come and pick him up and send him to the arena where they had, like, I don't know, their lunch, I guess. I don't really know what they had. So there was that. I know 12 Monkeys has been shot in Orono. I've never watched that show, but it's been shot in Orono. There's a shot of our Crooked Water Tower in Schitt's Creek in between scenes. That was kind of cool to see because I didn't realize it until I found it on Facebook. There's also the movie Polar. Actually, a lot of the movie Polar was shot in Orono, which is a Netflix movie. And it was kind of cool to see how they made Orono into... I think it's supposed to be in Montana or something. I've only seen the movie once, and it was a while ago. But what they did was they did a shot, and I thought it was so cool, where they drive through downtown, and in the far distance, instead of like there being nothing, just trees, they got rid of the trees, and they put mountains back there, which really upset me because now I want some mountains in my town, but I know that will never happen. I'm pretty sure a few earthquakes or something have to happen for that. I'm pretty sure it has to do with two plates, and I don't know. I don't remember whatever class tell you what causes mountains. I didn't pay attention. I went to summer school a lot in high school. Be mad at me. But like when everything was going away, these big movies were coming in and shooting, which was kind of cool to see. There's also been 2 music videos shot there, but one from Wes Mack, which is, I guess, a small country singer, and the Washboard Union shot a music video in my hometown too. I forget what the song's called. I did get to meet a few of the guys from Washboard Union, 2 of them. Very nice guys, very humble. We said, so like, how do you like coming to small towns like this? And they were like, oh, we love it. For all I know, they were just being nice, and they probably wanted to get the hell out of my town because all we got is the Cricket Water Tower. But they were very nice, and the music video is the one where the girl is like collecting all this shit, like random stuff, and then she uses it to like build a stage, and then she kidnaps a band, like just walking through my town, and makes them actually, if you watch that video, the part or the video at the beginning of this where it's me talking about Orono, where my buddy is sitting there vaping at that gazebo, that's where, if you watch the Watchboard Union's video, that's where the stage is supposed to be. I feel like I'm going to do a video for the Honestly Lazy Show where I'm going to go into Orono and show you where they kind of shot everything. I've seen those on YouTube before, and why not? Like, you know, people go shoot the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, where Hazard County was for Dukes of Hazzard, where was the other one I watched? Oh yeah, where all the Outsiders scenes were taking place, shit like that. Why can't I do one for Orono, where Polar was and all that stuff? They did use a lot of Orono for Polar. Sorry, they did use. I know they used our general store. They did use that. And they use, I want to say the Cafe or Fire Hall Bistro. I'd have to go uptown and check again. I haven't been up there in a while. There's nothing up there anymore for me. I'm getting too old for my own small town. But anyways, I should probably get on to the next point. So, like I said, everything starts disappearing. And at this point, I'm like, Orono is screwed. Honestly, I was like, well, Orono is officially screwed. What the hell? Like, there's nothing here for people to come see. And this is where the Orono people, like the Oronotorian, or they call themselves something. I don't really, guys, call myself an Orono boy. I guess the Orono people, I forget what they usually call them, but the Orono people really came together and they started creating events. And I kind of have a little list of things that they kind of are doing to really get people to come into town. And obviously the first one is we have a fair every year. It's like 165 or 67. I forget how old it is, but every year it happens, and that is like the big hit for Orono. Every year they have the Orono Fair, and that's the big hit. And since they started doing concerts, which they started doing when I was in like grade 12, so way back, I don't know how many years now, but they started bringing country names in and actually doing concerts for the people of Orono, and that brings a lot of people into town, and that kind of, I guess, gives money towards the town. I don't really know where the money, I'm so sorry for this cable, I keep hitting it. I don't know where the money ever goes for the Orono Fair, but I hope some of it goes into my town, because if it doesn't, I'd be extremely upset. But the Orono Fair is the first thing that obviously gets a lot of people into our town. But then the Orono people kind of created their own thing called Orono Fest. Now, I've never been to Orono Fest. I'm a shitty Orono person. I've never been to Orono Fest, usually because I was always working. And this year when Orono Fest happened, I was up at Canadian Motorsports watching the truck races with my brother and my dad, which I never have done before, and they always wanted me to go up. So I figured hanging out with my family is more important than Orono Fest. And you can judge me all you want for that. I really just wanted to go watch some trucks race. But from the pictures, they bring a beer garden in. I don't really know exactly what they do. They have a lot of stuff for like kids, like a lot of events, I guess, or a lot of activities, I guess. They usually Brian Bickle, who is our hometown hero for winning the Stanley Cup twice with the Chicago Blackhawks. He usually comes in and plays hockey with the kids out on the roads and stuff. And this is kind of cool talking about Orono Fest because it slides right into the next thing that they kind of do. Because at Orono Fest, they bring in Orono merch. And the first time I ever saw the Orono merch, the first ever Orono merch design I ever saw was for Orono Fest, and I never wanted it because it was the green color of the shirt I didn't like, and it was just Orono Fest with our crooked water tower. By the way, in that video when I say the only reason why they won't tear down the water tower is because the old folks call it a landmark, that's true, and they love our crooked water tower. We actually place bets to see when it's going to fall down. Every winter. I feel like this winter, it's a goner. There's going to be some type of ice storm or something that will make that thing go timber, you know? But that was the first merch I ever saw. Was this green shirt that just said Orono Fest across it and the crooked water tower. But then I saw a Canadian flag that said Orono across it. It looked like it was made out of some, I don't know, just some... it was like yarn, and it was a Canadian flag and it says EST and Orono. I thought that was kind of cool. I'd definitely buy something like that and hang it up in my house, but I don't really have the money right now. But the best one, and I'm not even trying to chirp people for this one, but there's a t-shirt that has the Straight Out Compton logo, but it says Straight Out of Orono instead. And I'm not trying to chirp anyone, but it's pretty funny watching old people wear that shirt just because I sit there and think, I know these people don't like rap music, and that is part of like a CD. Straight Out Compton has songs like Fuck the Police on it and Dope Man and shit. And I'm sure if they knew where the logo was originally from, they probably wouldn't wear the shirt. But of all the merch that I could wear, I'd definitely go and buy a Straight Out of Orono shirt and represent the shit out of it. And I probably will in the future. Just not right now. The next thing, and this is kind of the newest thing, which makes me laugh because although it is a good idea, I don't think we should do it yet. But in Toronto, they have that Toronto sign for the Pan Am Games. They had it, and it's a big sign, very big sign, and it lights up at night and shit. And Toronto announced that they wanted to get rid of the sign. So a guy from Orono said, hey, you know what? Take the T's off it because Orono is Toronto without the T's. Literally spelt like that. And we'll take it. And since he came up with the idea, Orono's been on radio stations. It's been on the news. You can go watch CTV News and watch him talk about it. And it's kind of became a big thing. A lot of people are behind it. I wouldn't really care if it came into our town or not. That's the way I kind of look at it. The funny thing is, so he said, take the T's off it and we'll take it. And when he first said that, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's just one whole sign. You can't just take like letters off of it, right? And that's what the guy on the news in Toronto said. He's like, we can't take the letters off it. I mean, we can take just keep the power off the T's, but we're not gonna, we can't take it all apart. It's just too hard. And that made me giggle just a little bit. I thought that was pretty funny. But they want to put it in our Orono Fairgrounds for people to come or see on the highway and come into town, and then they can see the town, which is great. I think it's a great idea for the future. As of right now, there isn't really anything we can really show off in Orono. Like I said, we still have an LCBO and we don't have a bank. We have an ATM that probably overcharges people to use, and that's something that we don't want, or I'm sure people don't want to deal with. Another thing that kind of bugs me about the Orono sign is who's going to pay for the hydro for this big sign? Because if you think I'm going to pay for it when I don't even really care to have it here, good luck. If I start hearing that Orono sign is going to be part of our taxes because someone posted on the Orono Facebook group that's going to cost like $4,000 a month to like keep it lit up, I'm going to just go over there every night and just cut the wires to it because I don't want to pay for it $4,000 a month or pay into my taxes just because like a small town wants their big Orono sign. I just don't want to be a part of it. On top of the fact that if people tag it, which they're going to, you have to pay for people to come clean it up. And I don't really want to deal with any of that. And I'm sorry. That's my opinion on the sign. I'm not saying it's a bad idea to have. I'm just saying it's not the best idea for right now. In the future, fuck it. Go ahead and do it. Go have fun. But for right now, not the best investment for our little town. Maybe in the future, but for me, I don't think it's the best idea for right now. Going on to newer things, Orono has announced that we will be having a cannabis store. I heard that's already open, but all it does is sell edibles, which to me is a dangerous idea. I don't understand why all these fucking cannabis shops come out and all they do is sell edibles at first. Like, they do realize that edibles fuck people up a lot worse than like weed does. I'm just saying. I'm just going to be the real one here and tell you it's not the best idea to open up and start with edibles, because if you've never smoked weed before and you eat an edible, you're going to get way higher than just smoking a couple puffs off a joint or smoking a hash pod or something. But that is a step forward and a good way to get people to come to our town and visit it. And hell, if there's a cannabis store in town, I will definitely support it by buying some hash, because I like smoking hash every once in a while. The next thing that I heard that they're doing is a craft brewery in the small town, which to me is fantastic, because I know everyone in town likes to drink beer and everyone in town would support the living crap out of it. The only thing, and here's the only thing, if you're going to open up a craft brewery, I feel like we should get a little pub. That's the biggest thing. That if Orono had a pub, we've never had a pub before, but if we did get a pub, that's a good way to make some good money for the town, because I could go for walks in town and stop and have a beer and then just keep going for my walks. I know that there's always an issue with a bar or a pub. There's always will be an issue. But in a small town case, for all you know, it could be the best way to make money. And a craft brewery to me is a really, really good way to start to get a pub or a bar into the town. And I really hope that just takes off and we got something and can go farther in ways like that. The Toronto sign, if you ask me, a craft brewery and a cannabis store and are better ways to get people in town than a big ugly Orono sign in the fairgrounds. These two are the easier ways, I feel like. And I know the people of Orono, if they find this video and listen to it, they're going to go against me probably. But that's just my opinion, and you're not going to change it. Like, that's my opinion about other ways we could get Orono, I guess, bigger. I don't know. I've also heard that our corner store, since the LCBO, I said is gone, but I heard the corner store got okayed to start selling beer, which I guess the LCBO problem is kind of safe for right now, but I don't know how it's going to work. I'm sure you can't just go in there and buy 2 2-4s. In the corner store. I'm pretty sure Canada hasn't figured that out yet. And we are at the bottom, the ending of my clip, or of my my cue card. And it says, God be proud of my town. This is how I'm going to end it. I love the living shit out of my town. I think I always will. I've been able to do whatever the hell I wanted in Orono. I've been able to have the childhood that I guarantee you no one will be able to have ever again. I could go out. I had a lot more freedom than even people in the town Orono or over from us had. The people of Orono are great. Everyone helps out everyone. Like, this video or this podcast alone should show you how passionate this town is to make sure that never goes under. I love my town. I've had my issues with my town, and I will always chirp my town for the littlest things and how they complain about some dumb stuff every once in a while. But at the end of the day, Orono will always be a part of me. And for all you know, maybe one day I might even get an Orono tattoo. Just think about that. Always on my skin to represent my hometown. But with that all being said, I love my town. And half-hour podcast, suited bird. I'm getting better at it. But yeah. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast with your host, me, BoyStick. Like I said, this will be on. It's on a bunch of stuff now. I use Anchor FM, so it's just going on Apple Podcasts. It's on Bunker. It's on a bunch of random other websites, which is cool. Different ways to listen. I'd recommend just either YouTube or Spotify. If you're on the go, Spotify. Don't be watching YouTube videos and my podcast while you're driving or something. Don't be that stupid. But if you want to check me out, Spotify, Honestly Lazy Podcast, YouTube, Honestly Lazy Podcast. Check out all my other ways of, or other social medias. I usually use Instagram on my story to keep updated on what's going on. I do use my Twitter. All the links will be in the description down below, but I really don't use my Twitter at the same time. As dumb as that sounds, I really don't care for Twitter. I prefer Instagram and YouTube, honestly. But that's the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. There will probably be a bonus clip talking about the KSI and Logan Paul press conference. I don't know if I said that right. Because they just did their press conference in London, which was a lot better. But I'm going to get into it probably and give my... hang on. Sorry about that. And give my opinion on how the fight might come out and all that type of stuff. But until the next episode, your boy Stick, and take her easy, guys.